what did I just say? Avengers Doomsday Endgame connection confirmed by Russo brothers. This is an update video on the Doomsday video we watched yesterday about the Dooms list. Can we fly? I just finished the flight. I did Taipei to Singapore. Is he the game you told me before stream? Fuck. No, it's not. It's a different game. That was just the ruse to make you think it's that game. But it's a completely different game. Right, anyway. Is it that ground handler one? What ground handler one? Is that a aviation game? Sounds like an aviation game. Not everything is aviation related, Liam. You were playing a ground handler game before. No, I wasn't. DSL. I don't recall playing any ground handler game. It was an aviation game for sure. On stream? Or on PC or what? Why are you excited? That's not what I'm playing. What are you on about? I voted COD stream for one. COD is just long. I still need to finish the story mode though. That I could do on stream. But actual matches, I don't know. But anyway, I'm recording. Guys, we're meant to be on YouTube. Hi YouTube. Avengers Doomsday Endgame connection confirmed by Russo brothers. We'll see what that's about. Make sure you like, subscribe, then go over to the Twitch, then follow on there and keep up with the streams. Usually start at 6. I've been starting at 7 lately, but it's meant to start at 6. No official schedule, but just keep the notifications on now you know when I'm live. Anyway, let's begin.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Boss.
What's
Avengers
up, Eric?
Doomsday directors, the Russo brothers, have spoken, spilling the tea to Empire Magazine about their inspiration to return to Marvel Studios to produce a 2-part Secret Wars event, Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Though the article doesn't mention it, they probably did conduct this interview whilst sitting atop a pile of cash. These filmmakers began to answer some of our biggest questions about the plots of Doomsday and Secret Wars, how this crossover event will connect back to and reframe Avengers Endgame, and the spin-off's big why? So as production is set to begin for Doomsday this spring, let's break down everything we have learned about this movie from the Russos. And a reminder that New Rockstars now has a channel membership option. If you hit that join button, you'll get access to exclusive emotes and ad-free versions of some of our biggest videos. Joining us as a member is one of the best ways to support New Rockstars, and we are so grateful to anyone willing to do so, as well as to anyone who just watches our videos at all. So thank you all, and let's have a great 2025. Okay, last October, Collider and Steven Weintraub talked to Joe and Anthony Russo at New York Comic Con and got some confirmation about when they plan to start shooting Doomsday.
No one's playing the airport game,
you need to start filming.
We do. It's in the spring.
Yeah. The Russos also confirmed that they are considering shooting these movies in IMAX, that there will be about a year break between the productions of Doomsday and Secret Wars, and that these movies will be on the scale of Infinity War and Endgame.
It's very complicated to, to iron out a story of this scale. And the ambition is,
stop it.
Similar to Infinity War and Endgame. These are going to be very, very big movies with a lot of characters in them and a lot of storylines coalescing. But we're very excited about.
I don't know. I don't even know if we're going to be getting to the new game.
We felt like we had a really strong idea for what these movies should be. And we're really happy with how they're coming together right now.
And when it came to any hesitation to coming back, Anthony Russo said this.
What we're chasing is this idea that we felt there was more powerful storytelling to be done. And that's what motivated us. When we tuned into a story that we felt like had to be told, that we wanted to tell, and that would be an incredible thrill, not just for us, but for our audiences.
Sidetrack. The first. Liam, I swear to God, I'm going to mute you. Where was I? The first part of this video will be dropping at some point on YouTube, probably today. I don't know. It's been uploading for God knows how long now. The only one I managed to upload yesterday was the movie trailer that we watched. So hopefully this one gets uploaded first, but I'm going to make sure that one uploads first before I upload this one. But yeah, just a quick side note.
Prior to this, back in June 2024, Deadline reported that more than 60 MCU characters could reprise their roles in these two films. And in our recent episode of Doom's List, we cited a Production Weekly production report for Avengers Doomsday, dated December 12th, that posted the production start date as late March 2025 in London, expecting to wrap in August 2025, and included the following as the cast: Robert Downey Jr., Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, Eben Moss, Tom Holland, Elizabeth Olsen, Sebastian Stan, Florence Pugh, Wyatt Russell, David Harbour, Hannah John Kamen, Olga Kurylenko, Chris Evans, Anthony Mackie, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Haley Atwell. And it also states at the bottom, Ana de Armas mentioned for a role. I speculated that she could be playing Black Swan, a priestess from another universe in Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars crossover event, who ends up serving a figure who she later discovers is the same person as God Emperor Doom. Now, we have not gotten any official confirmation from actual sources connected to the production as to whether this production report is legit. We'll see. But the latest news comes from Empire Magazine this week. They sat down with the creative team behind Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, directors Joe and Anthony Russo and screenwriter Stephen McFeely. In this article, Anthony Russo said that returning to the MCU was not initially the obvious move. Endgame was the end, and it took a little time for us to begin to think about it as something other than an end. We're very close with Kevin Feige and Lou D'Esposito, and we've had conversations through the years. We've talked about a lot of ideas. Really, what happened was we ended up stumbling upon an idea that activated all of us. You couldn't see it coming until it came, and once it came, it was like, well, that's a story we need to tell. The article then goes on to clarify that the reason Christopher Marcus, the co-writer of Infinity War and Endgame, isn't coming back to join Stephen McFeely to write Doomsday and Secret Wars is that Christopher Marcus is busy overseeing projects in the pipeline at Agbo Productions. That's the production company of these four guys. And Agbo is also producing Doomsday and Secret Wars along with all the other films the Russos are involved with. The article then goes on to quote Joe Russo. There were ideas that we were trying to wrap our heads around that preceded this one, and we...
Are you being serious? Did you just make a second account just to keep mentioning me? Hello, Victor.
just never found the story. Then Russo says Stephen McFeely hit on how the Secret Wars comic arc might work in MCU form, and Joe Russo went on saying, I remember calling Steve and said, hey, crazy idea, what do you think?
No one's playing an aviation game. I don't know what you're on about.
Absolutely not. And then you hung up. And then the next morning at 7:30, you called and were like, all right, I have an idea. Okay, so 3 takeaways from this article. 1, Stephen McFeely overnight conceived of a mystery big idea to adapt Jonathan Hickman's 2015 Secret Wars crossover event using the pieces of the current MCU. And it was this big idea that convinced the Russos to come back. Something that they did not see coming, but something that
using
they felt needed to be
of
told.
The current
2,
MCU.
this big idea applies to both Doomsday and Secret Wars. Both are obviously 2 halves of the same narrative event. And 3, whereas they previously looked back at Avengers Endgame as the end of a story, they are now rethinking elements of the film as possible setups for the story they're telling in Doomsday and Secret Wars. Based on these statements, I'm guessing their big idea was not something as simple as,
Liam,
hey, let's bring back
stop.
Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. Only because that decision more likely occurred independent of the Russos and McFeely's decision to come back at all. We are pretty sure that the decision to replace Kang the Conqueror with Dr. Doom as the big bad of these films might have occurred at the September 2023 Palm Springs retreat with the Marvel Studios executives that Variety reported on in November 2023. And I think around that time is when the idea of bringing back Robert Downey Jr. came up as a possibility. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. Whenever the calendar ticks over to a new year, it's hard not to reflect on where you are now versus where you were a year ago. Is your situation better? Is it worse? Is it the same? And more importantly,
I mean,
how do
get
you
your
feel
bag,
about that?
guys,
But
but
expectations to make immediate
we're
dramatic
skipping.
life changes in 20. Users love BetterHelp. They have over
we're still
7,000
here.
reviews and afford and get 10% off your first month of therapy.
if you guys want therapy, use their code. Help them out.
This was also kind of doubly confirmed last August when Robert Downey Jr. appeared on the Hollywood Reporter's Awards Chatter podcast and explained the whole discussions and the timeline that led to him coming back as Victor Von Doom. And he said that it went down a year prior to that podcast, which would mean sometime around August or September 2023.
So probably a year ago, because, you know, Feige and I have kept in touch. We're pals.
Mm-hmm.
Favreau and Feige and I have kept in touch. I'm close with the Russo brothers. We have other business we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this little kind of group
Why do you think I timed you up?
Fellow travelers. And I had this instinct that I wanted to go to Bob Iger, and I had an idea outside of the cinematic universe for how I could be of service to what's going on in the parks and all their location-based entertainment.
Downey then went on a kind of odd tangent about being blown away by what the Disney Imagineers were cooking up at their campuses. And now in retrospect, I'm wondering if it has something to do with what the Parks and Experiences people cooked up as these videos on the Disney cruise lines that an insider source told us had some reference to Dr. Doom. I don't know. That's just me guessing.
I have no idea where your mod went. All I have to do is time you out.
Robert Downey Jr. talks about a sit down that he had with his wife, Susan, and with Kevin Feige.
Susan and I were sitting down with Feige at one point, and he said it just keeps occurring to me that if you were to come back, and Susan was like, wait, come back as what? And I was like, and then we both realized over time that it was another thing that just disproves any doubt anyone could ever have about that guy. A very sophisticated, creative thinker about how can we not go backwards? How can we not disappoint expectations? How can we continue to beat expectations? And he brought up Victor Von Doom, and I looked into it as character, and I was like, wow. And I go, and later on, he goes, let's get Victor Von Doom right. Let's get that right.
So this would tell us that
they
when
need to get it right. Come on, man. Have you seen Thanos? They need to get it right.
Kevin Feige had that conversation with Robert Downey Jr. or it was after. But either way, a casting decision that big and that expensive was probably outside of Stephen McFeely's control. Or maybe it was just a possibility that he raised as a hypothetical, and then Kevin Feige was able to make it happen. But I think the decision to bring back Robert Downey Jr. was way bigger than anything they might have cooked up in the Agbo writer's room. But if you are one of these figures at Agbo trying to reframe Avengers Endgame as something, not the end of something, but as a possible cliffhanger teasing another story, a story that needs to be told, what pieces of Endgame would you look at? Well, I think there are a handful of lingering, mysterious moments from Avengers Endgame that I always think about. And I think the Endgame filmmakers thought might have made Endgame just a better movie, but also left YouTube channels like ours to make countless videos speculating about. There was the mystery of what happened on Steve Rogers' off-screen journey to return the Infinity Stones to their places and times throughout history, and what his alternate life with Peggy Carter looks like.
You want to tell me about her?
No, I don't think I will.
No, I don't think I will.
And of course, the question of where Steve Rogers acquired that shield to be able to give it to Sam Wilson. There must have been some other universe that he came from. Then there was the mystery of what Tony Stark saw exactly when he snapped his fingers.
So he saw his daughter, because there was like a
dust away only Thanos and Thanos'
scene that didn't
forces
make
and no
it to
one
the
else.
movie.
There was a deleted scene with an older version of Morgan Stark, and there was something else that he saw when he did that. Then there was the mystery of what the Ancient One really meant in this moment when she was arguing about the Time Stone with Bruce Banner on the rooftop during the Battle of New York in 2012.
Strange, he gave it away. He gave it to Thanos.
Willingly?
Yes.
Why?
I have no idea. Maybe he made a mistake.
Or I did. Strange is meant to be the best of us.
I always saw it as he gave it away on purpose.
Might have had to do with
because then that would influence
one victorious path that he foresaw had a 14,605 future timelines, the one that set up Tony Stark to make the ultimate sacrifice play. But I always felt there was something else about the words "Strange is meant to be the best of us" that just felt more loaded than what we got. Something that had to do with Strange's destiny beyond the events of Avengers Endgame and beyond Multiverse of Madness. There was also the mystery of what 2014 Thanos' new universe might have looked like if he succeeded in his final battle.
I will shred this universe down to its last atom.
Oh my god, that's actually so true. There's so many possible universe, because obviously now they're doing the whole multiverse stuff. Now you have to think of everything as, if this never happened, it would have led to this universe. If this happened, it would have led to this universe. Never even stop to think about what the universe would have been like if he won again.
And then, with the stones you've collected for me, create a new one, teeming with life, that knows not what it has lost, but only what it has been given. A grateful universe.
Born out of blood,
They'll never know
Never
because
know
you
it.
won't be alive to tell them.
And finally, there was this important line from Tony Stark that preceded this fight.
You mess with time, it tends to mess back. You'll see.
Now, in the context of the moment, Tony was probably just referring to, another Thanos from another timeline, a kind of general statement about the butterfly effect and the karma of meddling with time. But I think it's a line that many of us have held on to for all these years because it sounded like something
Have we?
Tony Stark was speaking about from experience. So here's one pitch for the big idea.
Let's
from
hear
Stephen
it. Let's hear
McFeely.
it. I love his pitches. His pitches are literally crazy. They should make him like one of the writers. I want to hear it.
That convinced the Russos to come back. What if the entire MCU wasn't meant to exist?
So what now?
And that somewhere out there, a more true Marvel universe exists, one that better represents everything you would want from the Marvel comics that you grew up reading. Which universe would you fight to defend? I've touched on this theory in other videos in the past, but we know in Fantastic Four First Steps, Marvel Studios is going to introduce an alternate Silver Age Marvel universe that's centered around Marvel's first family of the Fantastic Four. We think that is the universe where Robert
Hello,
Downey
Zach.
Jr.'s Doctor Doom is going to come from. And we think from this Fantastic Four fantastic fan art that there might be a Daily Bugle office in that Manhattan and that Spider-Man might be in that Manhattan. And so if it's in the 60s Marvel universe, why not also the X-Men and Black Panther all being active heroes in this
Okay.
world? This could have been what the MCU might have looked like if Marvel Studios had the film rights to all of their most popular characters in 2008 instead of those film rights being at other rival studios. Is that a Marvel world we would have preferred? Or do we prefer the MCU as it currently is with an illustrious
I'm not gonna lie. I think I would have preferred if Marvel had the rights to all the characters, because then we would have seen a lot more characters a lot earlier on, a lot more interactions, like a Spider-Man Deadpool interaction years ago. God damn it, man! I would fight for this MCU, the one with all the characters.
history from phases 1, 2, and 3, but a somewhat messier history in phases 4 and 5. I feel like the more complicated recent era is why the Russos feel compelled to defend the MCU they were a part of.
What we're chasing is this idea that we felt there was more powerful storytelling to be done.
This wasn't a story that came to them until Marvel has reached its more embattled recent era. And when Thanos threatened to tear apart the MCU and start over, maybe what he would have made is a truer Marvel universe. Maybe that is the universe old Steve Rogers recently came from when he met with Sam at the end of Endgame. And that's why he didn't want to tell Sam about what he went through, because he knows Sam is going to need this shield to defend his home 616 universe in a coming war. And that would be the universe of Doctor Doom. Like maybe Tony Stark knew about this other universe on some deeper level, and he knew that his variant from that other universe is Dr. Victor Von Doom, and he was afraid of opening that door by doing what he did in Endgame. Maybe the Ancient One also knew about this, that Doctor Strange would be the best of all sorcerers, and that Doctor Strange would be the only mind open enough to navigate a way to peace. I think that kind of idea is how McFeely and the Russos would make sense of Robert Downey Jr. being in this role, and how they would try to serve Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars event using pieces of the MCU as it currently stands, and how the Russos would justify returning in a story that needs to be told, because that story would be how the MCU, despite its imperfections, is a life worth fighting for. Comment down below with your thoughts on all of this. Follow me at EA Voss and subscribe to all 3 channels
I
on the
don't
Dark Search
know,
Network for
man.
breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love. And please consider becoming a member to support New Rockstars directly. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
I don't know, but I know it's gonna be a big ass movie. That's one thing I do know, and I can't wait for it. I can't wait for that first trailer. Obviously, will be watched on stream. Can't watch on my own without you guys. But yeah, those are the only 2 videos I have for reactions today. Unfortunately, not a lot. Yeah, YouTube.